She left home excited. She was going to pick up a book about crimes, because she loved that subject, just like many people here on this channel, just like maybe you. She never came back. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is what happened inside that house, and what the young man told the police afterward, with a calmness that will make you uncomfortable. Stay with me until the end, because this story has layers, and the deeper we go, the more disturbing it becomes. She believed him. December 2024, a beach called Atafona in São João da Barra, in the countryside of Rio de Janeiro, a place most people have never heard of, and because of this story, probably never will forget. Maria Eduarda Silva Barreto was 17 years old. Everyone called her Nia. She was an ordinary girl from a public school who had a specific interest: true crime, podcasts, documentaries, books about serial killers. That world fascinated her. If you're watching this video, you probably understand that fascination. There's something in the human mind that wants to understand the darkest side of humanity. It's not an illness, it's curiosity. But sometimes, under very specific circumstances, that curiosity can become a vulnerability. At school, Nia knew a classmate named Gabriel Conceição Bento, 18 years old. He also had that interest, or at least he pretended to, and that was exactly what he used. One day, Gabriel sent her a message. "Stop by my house, I have a book to give you." The book was Serial Ladies from Dark Side Books about female killers. Exactly the kind of thing Nia would love to read. She told her boyfriend, "I'm going to Gabriel's house to pick up a book. I'll be right back." And she went. She went because she trusted him, because they had a shared interest, because he was a classmate, not a stranger. And this is where the story truly starts to get heavy. What happened inside that house? Gabriel lived in a house at the back of a property. In the front lived his sister. It was a shared yard but separate houses. When Nia arrived, it was just the two of them. What happened next is based on Gabriel's own statement to the police, and I need to prepare you. It's not easy to hear. He went after her. She fought back. She grabbed a knife that was nearby. There was a struggle. Gabriel took the knife from her, broke it, and attacked her with his hands. She fought as much as she could. The report would later show that defensive wounds on her body, signs that she did not give up easily, but he was bigger, stronger, and he killed her by strangulation. At 17, Nia died on a bed, in a backyard house, on a beach almost no one knows. And then something happened that goes beyond the crime itself, something that placed this case in a different category. After she died, he sexually assaulted her. But here's a detail from the forensic report that changes everything. The examination indicated that the assault happened before death, while she was still alive. That means the sequence was even more brutal than it first appeared, and legally, the crime is far more severe. After that, he attempted to practice cannibalism. He made a cut in the area of her chest. Forensics still needs to determine the exact extent of that injury, but he stated that he tried. And this detail, as you'll understand shortly, is not random. It's part of something bigger that was in his mind. He wasn't finished yet. After all of this, Gabriel did something that shows an extreme level of coldness. He took Nia's phone. She was dead, and he started reading her messages. He found the text she had sent her boyfriend. "I'm going to Gabriel's house to pick up a book." Anyone at that moment would think, "It's over. The police will come." Gabriel thought differently. He typed a reply, pretending to be Nia, saying she was fine. And then he sent another message calling the boyfriend to come over. Think about what that means. He had just killed a girl, attempted cannibalism, and instead of fleeing, he stayed and invited another person. Nia's boyfriend arrived. Gabriel came up behind him with a knife, aiming for the carotid artery, the artery in the neck. If he had hit it, the boy would be dead. He missed. Hit the cheek. The boyfriend screamed. They got into a physical struggle, and Gabriel's sister, who was in the front house, heard the commotion and went to see what was happening. She found her brother on top of a boy with a knife. And look at what Gabriel asked her. "Help me kill him." She said no, and that no saved a life. The boyfriend managed to run. He went out asking for help. He alerted the family, alerted the police. Gabriel was arrested the same day. There was no escape, no mystery. One of the victims was alive and told everything. What he said during the interrogation, when the police asked Gabriel about his motive, what he felt for Nia, why he did it, he answered with a sentence that's hard to forget. "I didn't feel anything for her. I didn't like her or dislike her. But since I was a child, I've wanted to kill someone. The opportunity just came up since childhood." It wasn't anger. It wasn't rejection. It wasn't jealousy. It wasn't any of the things we usually look for as explanations when something like this happens. It was desire, the desire to experience it. And to him, Nia was the perfect opportunity. Someone who trusted him, who had a concrete reason to show up at his house, and who was physically smaller. Now, an important question, and I want you to think about it with me. Does this make him a psychopath? The honest answer is, we don't know yet, and it's more complicated than it seems. A true psychopath will act regardless of any external influence. They don't need books, series, or documentaries to develop these impulses, they're already there. But there's a detail in this case that intrigues specialists. Gabriel reached the highest level of violence on his very first time. He killed, assaulted, and attempted cannibalism, all at once. Criminals who develop a pattern over time usually get to that point gradually. The park maniac, for example, started with assaults and escalated, first leaving victims alive, then killing, then committing necrophilia, and eventually moving toward cannibalism. Gabriel skipped all the stages. This could mean two things. Either he truly has a very pronounced psychopathic profile, and all of this was already fully formed in his mind, or he is an 18-year-old who had violent fantasies that kept growing, and in the moment of action, when she resisted and things got out of control, he went into improvisation mode. Notice, he didn't expect her to fight back with a knife. He didn't plan that. The violence of the crime itself may have escalated because he lost control of the situation. The psychological evaluation will be crucial to understand what's going on inside his mind. Does this have anything to do with true crime? I know this question will come up in the comments, so I want to address it carefully. The fact that Nia liked true crime has absolutely nothing to do with what happened to her. She was the victim of a trap, period. But the other question, whether Gabriel's interest in this subject influenced him to do what he did, deserves a more careful answer. The short answer is no, not directly. Thousands of people watch true crime, read books about killers, listen to podcasts about horrific crimes, and do none of this. You're probably one of those people. I'm one of those people. Content doesn't create a killer. What can happen, in very specific cases and very specific personalities, is that this type of content gives shape and vocabulary to impulses that already existed. A person doesn't learn to want to kill, they learn how to name what they already wanted. And there's a huge difference between fantasizing and acting. Everyone is fantasized about something they would never do in real life. The problem begins when the fantasy doesn't stop when it takes over. When a person wakes up thinking about it, goes to sleep thinking about it, and starts planning how to turn fantasy into reality. That's the turning point. And it's exactly what Gabriel described when he said he had wanted to experience this since childhood. What comes next? The investigation is ongoing. The reports from the crime scene, the forensic examination, and the psychological analysis will define the exact contours of what happened. The assault while she was still alive has already been confirmed, which substantially changes the legal classification of the crime and the sentence. The cannibalism still needs to be precisely confirmed by forensic analysis. Gabriel will be tried as an adult, and the list of charges is long. Aggravated intentional homicide, sexual assault, desecration of a corpse, and attempted homicide against Nia's boyfriend. His sister, who refused to help and did not interfere in the crime itself, has no legal responsibility for what happened, but it was her refusal that, indirectly, saved a life. Nia was 17 years old. She liked the same kind of content that many people here consume. She had a boyfriend, classmates, and her whole life ahead of her. She went to pick up a book, and she encountered someone who had long decided he was going to kill someone. She just happened to be the person who showed up at the wrong time, or at the right time, from his perspective. That's what weighs the most in this story. There was no specific trigger, no fight, no betrayal, no clear motive we can point to and say, this caused it. It was a cold decision, made years earlier, waiting for an opportunity. We'll continue to follow this case here on the channel as the reports come out. If you want to be notified, you know what to do: subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you want to talk about any specific point of this case, leave it in the comments. This is a subject that deserves to be discussed. See you next time.